the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Welcome to Retro Motorsport. This week it's back to our favourite place that is no more, Pukekohe. The year is 2008 and it's the Castrol New Zealand Superbike Championships.
It's a beautiful summer's day here at Pukekohe for round 5 of the Castrol 2008 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship, and Pukekohe Park has come alive. All the classes up for decision, including the Formula 3s, the Pro Twins, the 125s and the sidecars. It's those races we'll be covering today. I'm joined in commentary once again by Paul Pavledich. The stage is set, Pav, for a pretty enthralling final.
Sure is, and we've been very, very lucky with the weather too. The boys have been praying that the rain keeps away.
So there are some of the sidecars as they get ready for their first race of a 2-day weekend here at Pukekohe. You're riding on board with Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan. Now, they are the current champions, and they started like gangbusters. They won the first 2 South Island rounds, but since then their campaign's had a bit of a hiccup, and it's had a hiccup in the form of number 77, and that is Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson, and they go straight into the front as they head out of the Jenny and home sweeper for the first of 8 times and into the S's.
Well, Scrivener's bike's very powerful. I don't think horsepower's going to be an issue around Pukekohe, but the LCRs, they just handle immaculately. And, you know, remember, these are Grand Prix type sidecar units, so the handling is absolutely perfect.
And one of the things we've got to remember, Pav, is that the bike we're riding with here, Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan, the bike's probably 15 or 16 years of age. Okay, it's had updates. It's a bit like Grandad's axe. The one in front of them is only 1 year old, and it's a World Championship winning rig.
Yeah, well, I'd have to say it'd be a bit like taking a knife to a gunfight, in my opinion. Those LCRs, they really are a step up. And you can see they're starting to filter into the country now, and it's raised the bar in sidecar racing in New Zealand.
Well, it has. We saw that with the Sanyong rig there of Stacey Sellers a couple of seasons ago. He came to the Whanganui street race and everyone sort of raised their eyebrows in awe. Well, since then we've seen, as you've mentioned, Pav, a lot of the local rigs have been transformed.
Well, it's just going to be a case in the next 2 or 3 years. If you don't have one, unless you're on a street circuit, you're probably not going to be competitive. These things are around 90, 100 grand second hand. They're a big investment.
And that's right, Steve Bryan's ambition is to take a New Zealand team to Europe and to the World Championships in the not-too-distant future. They did have plans to do it last year, but they didn't come off. But this year, they are assured to be up in Europe sometime. You're back on board here with Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan.
They're seriously fast. They're only a couple of seconds slower than a New Zealand V8 touring car. You know, three or 3.5 odd seconds slower. That's pretty impressive. They're carrying two people as well.
Now have a look at this. They break down from about 150 metres now. I've been there and done that because I had the pleasure of going with the Lawrence brothers last year on their 600cc rig. And what amazed me most about these rigs, Pav, not so much how fast they go, because they go really, really fast, but how quickly they stop.
Oh, mate, I had to go on the R-Jip sidecar a few years back, and it just about tore my shoulders out. You have to be an athlete to be a passenger on one of these machines. And what I noticed too, there's a whole lot more ladies getting involved. As passengers, they're light, they're nimble, and particularly the athletic ones do really well at it.
Well, you have to be athletic, Pav, because you watch the swinger. He is all over the machine. He's onto the left, and then he's counteracting the balance of the 3 wheels as he moves over as they work their way through Castrol and out onto the back straight. And Steve Bryan's one of the best. And have a look at that. That's a characteristic of Bryan. He always looks behind just to see where the opposition is. Well, we can tell him at the moment that the opposition is ahead of them. And it is bike number 77, the ex-Tim Reeves World Championship winning sidecar of Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson. And Dennis Simonson is coming in as a super sub because originally it was going to be Charlie Bilby on the side of the rig, but of course they had problems at the Whanganui street race. Charlie got injured and Dennis has come in as an able replacement. Leighton Manel and Louise Blythell there in the Sanyong rig. That's the ex-Stacey Sellers rig. Leighton swung for Stacey at Whanganui this past year. Now he's gone on to buy the machine off Stacey. Stacey says he's retired. Leighton's not. He's got into the driving seat.
Well, Louise is doing a good job too. She's really into it. Good to see Sanyong too. These guys have been involved in New Zealand road racing for a number of years, and they've helped a lot of people. So they're a great bunch.
Well, this is another rig that's really come on strong this year. Peter Goodwin and Gavin James on the 111. Doing a fantastic job. Just running up in the top 5 at the moment, but they're going a lot better than that in the championship points. This is the final round for sidecars. They only did 4 rounds this year. They didn't go to Invercargill.
That's a Yamaha-powered rig too in the LCR. These big Suzuki Hayabusa engines seem really popular too. They're pumping out 160-odd horsepower, Phil. They're really, really torquey. And that's what you want when you're carrying around 2 people. You want that punch out of the corner, the torque.
The thing's starting to hot up a little bit now. Maybe Andy Scrivener just coming back to the rest of the field there. Leighton Manel starting to pick him up. So too the 111. Now, Pav, you've done more laps around here than most people have had hot dinners. And we know that Pukekohe is notoriously a horsepower track, but it's also very bumpy. How are the bumps going to affect these sidecars?
Well, a lot actually, particularly down the front straight. If you're too far out to the left, there's a really big hollow there, and it's quite hard to set up the end of the front straight sweeper. So most of them will be a little bit more to the middle of the track to try and avoid that. You talk about like Pukekohe as a fast speed circuit. This is a very important corner. You've got to get good drive onto the back straight, particularly if someone's in front of you, so you can get a good drag along and slipstream, pull out and pass them, just like that.
Oh, look at that, and they made it look so easy. That's Leighton Manel and Louise Blythel's just gone rocketing around the outside of Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan. And what's going to happen here under braking? Scrib's been around the sidecar domain for a long, long time now. He's got racing line. No, the Sanyong rig takes it back as they head out and down towards Ford Mountain. You're riding on board. You've got the best seat in the house here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd place now, so it's changing as we watch.
Oh, it's starting to hot up now. They're really starting to bunch up, and this is going to be prove interesting, particularly in the last couple of laps at that hairpin.
So in the front, remember, it's Bron and Simonson, but this is the battle we're watching at the moment. Leighton Manel and Louise Blythe. Look at Louise getting as aerodynamic as possible and then leaning right over to the right-hand side as they go through Ginny and Holmes. Now, this is the 2nd fastest part of the racetrack here at Pukekohe, Pav, and it's scary going around here in a sidecar, I don't mind telling you.
I know it is. It's frightening. Their knuckles will be white as white, too, hanging onto those bars as they lean over around that sweeper.
Back on board here with Scrivener and Bryan.
That 12,000 odd revs, that Hayabusa's screaming.
And they really can't make too much of an impression on the 77 ahead of them. And here comes the challenge from Goodwin as well. So they've really got their hands full here.
It's going to come down to the hairpin. Scrivy's very good under brakes. Super brave.
And you see he just moves the rig to the outside of the racetrack just to slow down the challenge of the 111. And that's Peter Goodwin. The LCR starting to close in on the Sousby Engineering #1.
The LCRs don't seem to float their wheels as much, do they? They seem to be a lot more planted on that track.
Well, this is an amazing turn of events because we saw in the South Island, Scrivener and Bryan were dominant, and now they're getting their clock cleaned here at Pukekohe. Into Ginny and Holmes they go, and you see the 111 there, Peter Goodwin and Gavin James just getting a little bit squirrely coming up to the outside. Now they're down, hugging the curbs again, through the S's and out through Castrol again. Now, is it going to be a battle of the horsepower, Pav? Has the Hayabusa got something for these guys?
Oh, it's going to come down to aerodynamics as well. Those LCRs are so low to the ground. But here's a bit of Hayabusa horsepower for you.
Well, they come out of the kink and head down into the braking area. Like I said, around about 150 metres, they grab everything. And then you've got to really stop yourself if you're the swinger and you're new to it from flying over the front of the machine. They stop that fast. It's incredible.
You can see there's a bit of defensive riding too there. Probably a little bit more to the left than they'd want to be heading up there.
Expert comments coming from a man that has been there and done that as we ride with Scrivener and Bryan as they head up over Ford Mountain. Just up ahead of them now, it's the 111 of Peter Goodwin and Gavin James. Further up the road, it is Leighton Manel and Louise Blythel. And the race leader, and he's kind of disappeared as we go into the last lap, is Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson in the championship-winning LCR of Tim Reeves.
Oh, that's seriously brave, that third car.
Oh! Well,
Whoa.
maybe just a small mistake there for Goodwin, and that means Scrivener comes right back into it now.
Now we're going to see some fireworks. It's going to be so important to get a good drive down the back straight so they can line themselves up at the hairpin. But it just doesn't quite have the horsepower. They're pulling away.
Well, Goodwin and Gavin James getting huge drive onto the back straight, and that means that it's going to make it so much harder now for Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan. You ride with them here, and they're just seeing third place just disappear up the racetrack.
How did he do that? Seriously good braking.
And now Leighton Manel and Louise Blythe might be in a bit of trouble as well as they work their way out of the hairpin. There's nothing in it here. It's the 15, the Sangyong rig. That's Leighton Manel. In the past, he's been a swinger. Now he's a driver. Here's the race leader. This is Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson. They're going to cross the line. There is the Lawrence Brothers rig coming through. They've had all sorts of problems. Race leader gets the checkered flag drawn, and Simonson win it. Leighton Manel and Louise Blythe will hold on just for second place. And in third, it is Peter Goodwin and Gavin James. The defending champion, Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan, are fourth. And then it's Dave Annan and Warwick Demox in fifth.
Steve and Dennis, dominant victory in race number 1 for the weekend. And more importantly, it puts some more points between yourself and the one machine.
Yeah, mate, she's a hard charge, but fortunately starting to learn to tame this old beast. Denny's working awesome. All the tricks that a young fellow would know in the sport, so no, it's been awesome.
You guys had some problems in qualifying. You actually qualified on just 3 cylinders.
Yeah, the bike was just fluffing around. You could hear it straight away, and it was like, oh no, what's going to happen? So we come in and checked it out, went back out, and it seemed to come all right. And then we found that the plugs were fouling up a bit, so changed those, and it's been good as now.
Have you got enough points up your sleeve going into the final race of the weekend in the championship to tie it up, or do you need a finish in the final race?
Well, we had the board showed to us as we come across the finish line, so providing the boys are right, I think we've sealed the deal. But we'll be going out charge hard in race 2 today, and we want that little wee TT Cup if we can as well.
It was a bit of a crap start. I think we were about 6 going into turn 1. We just couldn't get any weight on the back wheel, but up the straight we picked up a couple, and 2 or 3 laps into it we picked up Pete the Pirate, and then I think Scrivy was the same lap or a lap after that, so we managed to get into second and keep there, which was always going to be a risk. I knew they'd come back at us. It was a tough fight, hot fight, but we got there.
Tell us a little bit about the rules for the class, Formula 3.
Yeah, it's a real mixture of bikes. You've got the 650 V twins and parallel twins, which have got a little bit of restriction on them, and you've got the multi-cylinder 450s, and then it's open to singles as well. So there's quite an array of bikes, and you find certain types of bikes suit certain tracks more than others, and it's a matter of finding the right balance for the whole series, you know. And the SC650 seems to be quite a good balance. It's not quite as quick up top as the 4 multis, but it's got the torque for the tighter tracks.
Well, this is the Formula 3 and the Pro Twins combined New Zealand Tourist Trophy race. This is one of the trophies you want to put on the mantelpiece, Pav.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well sought. And listening to Terry Fitzgerald, then he's right on the money. These bikes all have different advantages on different circuits. At this circuit, in theory, the 450 inline 4s should get away. I've done the Auckland Champs this year, commentated it, and you've seen it right up top speed at the kink here, the inline 4s pull out and pass the twins. But Terry Fitzgerald and Glenn Williams are on fire in practice. They're really going fast.
There's Terry Fitzgerald in the front as they head into the hairpin for the first time. Steve Wood just inside him, dips down and takes the spot. So Wood goes into the front now. He's another man that's come on like gangbusters toward the end of the championship. This is the 5th and final round of the 2008 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. Now there's an outside chance that if all the stars are aligned and the moon's in the right place and the points work out, that maybe Terry Fitzgerald can win this, because Glenn Williams, who you can't quite see in your shot at the moment, back in about 6th or 7th place, he needs to finish this race. If he has a DNF, that maybe might hand the trophy to the man that's currently sitting in 2nd place, and that is the venerable Terry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long shot because Glenn Williams has rode perfectly this year. On the road circuits, he's been brilliant. And when he's needed to pick the pace up, he's done it at the other circuits. So you would be a brave man to bet against him here today.
Well, you're absolutely right. Since he jumped on this SV650 Suzuki, I should say the same bike that Terry Fitzgerald is riding, he has not looked back. We've seen him in the past on 600 sports production machines and also on superbikes. But boy, oh boy, once he got on that 600, I was lucky enough to see him at the Greymouth Street races, and that was one of the first races he had in anger on the bike, and he was unbeatable, Pat.
I've done a lot of miles on 650 twins when I rode F2 Panthers, and they are really nice to ride. The power delivery's smooth, they light, they handle good. And really, look, Terry Fitzgerald's got nothing to lose today. He's going to throw the gauntlet down and go as fast as he can and see if he can lure Glenn into a mistake.
So battles within battles here as they work their way into Jenny and Holmes once again. Looks like the best of the Pro Twin riders at the moment would be Auckland's Carl Morgan on the 23. He's got a bit of work to do if he wants to start running the pace that Fitzgerald and Steve Wood are doing at the moment.
Yeah, don't forget though that these bikes aren't anywhere near as powerful as the Formula 3 bikes out front. Those 650 twins, the likes of Terry Fitzgerald are riding, they're good little units, and look at the lap times. They're in the high threes already. It's very impressive.
Well, the conditions are good here at Pukekohe. A little bit of sun out, the track temperature will be good. That means good tyre adhesion, I guess, as they work their way out of the hairpin once again. Big fields. Remember, 2 combined classes, Pro Twins. It's a new class this year. Has it met with success, Pav? Has it been a success in the eyes of motorcycling in New Zealand?
It has. It's building numbers, and I think it's just going to get stronger and stronger. You know, we're trying to provide a class of racing that's relatively low budget and a good class to step up to after the 125s, for example. So I think it's going to get stronger and stronger.
Well, this battle getting closer and closer at the front of the field. There's the battle for 3rd and 4th. Jason Nairn, now this is essentially Terry's teammate, and right in behind him, but riding a different bike this time. We're used to seeing him on the Silver Bullet, but that's Glenn Williams on the 12, and he is the points leader at the present time. 2-1-3 there, Jeff Irving. Oh, and look how close it is at the front now. Fitzgerald's really starting to challenge Wood as they work their way through this gentle left-hander. Head up over the Ford Mountain once again. Wood in the best spot on the track at the moment, and that's in the front and out of the way. And look at Fitzgerald, he just gets such a good speed coming up over the top, and it's going to be handlebar to handlebar as they go across the line now. Fitzgerald on the inside on the SP 650 Suzuki. The new Plymouth Motorcycle sponsored rider goes into the front as they go through the Jenny and Holmes sweeper.
Well, it just shows you too, Terry Fitzgerald, he's probably done as many laps around here as I have, and he carried great cornering speed over the top of the hill. And the master of that technique has got to be young Sam Smith. So just shows you need that sprint to the finish line. It's a really important corner.
Well, Fitzgerald is so good, and we saw him have that uncharacteristic bobble at Ruapuna at round 1 of the championship. He took a bit of a sample in the dust and the grass at Ruapuna. No problems for him here, though, as he's back into the hairpin once again, and he's just starting to eke out a little bit of an advantage now on Steve Wood. This is the New Zealand Tourist Trophy title. It's been campaigned for since the 30s. It's one of the most prestigious titles in motorsport. Forget the fact that it's also the 3rd and final race for the weekend for these guys, and it's the last round of the championship. Everyone wants to win the TT title, Pat.
They sure do. And look, it's a really tough day here today for Glenn Williams. He's got to be smart. He's just got to finish the job, win that New Zealand championship. I think it's his first. So, he's not going to do anything stupid and crash, for the sake of, for this particular TT title.
Well, I'm sure that's what he's doing, and there's a glimpse there of Carl Morgan, the best of the Pro Twins at the moment. In second place in the Pro Twins would be number 67, that's Jeff Booth, and then 45, Tom Boss on the Kawasaki, just a teenager out of Christchurch. He'd be 3rd at the moment in the Pro Twins, but in the scheme of things, they're just inside the top 10 at the moment, so they've got a bit of work to do.
Wow, and the lap times are coming down. Steve Wood's done a 1 minute 3.3. That is incredibly fast. Great to see the slipstreaming is critical on these 650 twins. They've probably got around about 90 horsepower, so he cannot afford, Stephen Wood cannot afford to let Terry Fitzgerald get away. He's got to do some hard work, get on there, so he can have a crack at him coming over the hill on the last lap.
This man on your screen now, this is Eric de Boer on the Kawasaki, the Colin Klein Motorcycles Kawasaki. Had a lot of help from Andy Bolwell, and Andy Bolwell, well, he was the master in this class in Formula 3, so Eric's in the right direction if he's getting the help from Bolwell.
Yeah, there would have been a few sighs when Bolwell decided not to do the season. Rode those Kawasaki inline 4s just brilliantly, and he's missed from this class. I'd love to see him back out there. Interesting too, though, that the top guys in this class are 40 plus. So, there's some room there for the young Lions to step up, and I think that's the beauty of this Pro Twin class. Guys like Carl Morgan, they're early 20s, so, they've got a career path.
Well, Morgan certainly fits the bill of a young lion, doesn't he? Started off on 150 street stocks in the Tim Gibbs Winter Series, then moved up to the 600 sports production bikes, had a nasty crash in the South Island, and really probably didn't fulfil all his potential, but now coming right back into consideration. He's the points leader in the Pro Twins, and he's leading the Pro Twin division of this race at the moment. This man on your screen currently sitting in third place is Jason Nairn. Right in behind him it is Glenn Williams, and he is the champion-elect. And as you said, Pat, probably just doing the sensible thing, just riding for a finish. That's all he needs to clinch his first championship.
Yeah, he's too smart to do anything stupid. I mean, he really is an experienced rider. He's in his mid-40s. He spent time on R6 Yamahas, and he rode the wheels off him. He was very, very competitive on a 600. Stepped up to the Superbike class on a Kawasaki 1000. Rode it pretty well, but he just didn't quite make that sharp end of the field like he hoped he would. Now he's gone to these 650s, and I think he's found his home because he looks picture perfect on this bike, rides it beautifully.
And he's sort of in the vein of Andrew Stroud, if you like. He's quite a tall and gangly man, is Glenn Williams, out of Palmerston North, so he's really got to hunch down and get as aerodynamic as possible under the fairing. There you see his legs, his knees up round his chin.
He's ridden spectacularly here in the Auckland Champs too. You know, he just puts his head down and generally clears off. So, he run a little bit wide then.
Well, we saw that, didn't we, with Craig Sheriffs in the Superbike racing, literally getting on the grass. And at the speed these guys are doing coming over the top, Pav, that's probably not something you want to encourage.
Absolutely. Hey, look at this. Lap time just come through. Terry Fitzgerald's done a 62.9. Holy smoke. Boy, has he got the hammer down. I don't think I've seen anyone go that fast on a Formula 3 bike round here.
Well, that's why the gaps are starting to widen out now between himself and Steve Wood. He's through in second place. Jason Nairn in third. Then it's Glenn Williams. And it's the first of the Pro Twinners. And that is Carl Morgan. And it's another one of the F3 runners. And that's Eric de Boer from the Deep South.
Wow,
Terry Fitzgerald, he's too good for them, Pav.
He's making a statement here, isn't he?
Chris Costello hangs out the last lap board, so we've got one to go here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. This 2.8 kilometre circuit, it is bullet fast, but it is also, and you've heard us say it many times before, bumpy, and that plays havoc with the handling and the setup of these machines. Well, Glenn Williams knows it's the last lap, and he knows he's got to do something now as he tries to drive down the inside of Jason Nairn. That's the battle for third and fourth. I think the battle at the front might be decided. This is the battle in the Pro Twins. This is number 23, Carl Morgan out of Auckland.
Well, his dad will be so proud of him. Remember, Lance was a really good TZ350 pilot back in the day. So he'll have a smile on his face, very proud of his son.
And Carl is in the process of wrapping up the championship title in the Pro Twins. Terry Fitzgerald, who's leading this race, is going to have to be the bridesmaid because Glenn Williams circulating in fourth place. He'll have enough points to take his first championship, but no taking away from this man. He's one of the veterans of New Zealand motorcycling now, but he is still so good, and he wins the New Zealand TT title here in the Formula 3s. Here comes Glenn Williams, and he hasn't been able to overtake Jason Nairn, but fourth place is going to be easily good enough to give him the title in the Formula 3 championship. Number 217, Paul Bernard goes across the line as a lap rider. There is Williams, another lap rider comes across. We're looking for the first of the Pro Twin runners, and here he comes now. It's Auckland's Carl Morgan. Another national championship is decided here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. So in Formula 3, Terry Fitzgerald wins the battle but not the war, but he takes the TT title from Steve Wood and Jason Nairn. Glenn Williams' fourth is good enough to give him the title from Eric de Boer in fifth place. And results in the Pro Twins, it is Carl Morgan on top from Jeff Booth, number 67. Tom Boss from Christchurch is third, and Anthony Stevens goes across the line in fourth.
You guys have fought pretty hard. I mean, there's been some pretty close racing, and I mean, these younger guys are keeping you pretty honest out there as well.
Yeah, like Woodsy's come along this year, and he's flying, and yeah, they're not scared to take chances on out there, and it's you got to give them a bit of a wide berth at times.
That last race obviously was pretty good for you with the win, the TD trophy, and also a new lap record.
Yeah, and we got into the 12s, and it's good to break that 13-second barrier and get into the 12s and to break the lap record. We did it last week at Manfield as well.
Missed out on the first race, had a bit of a DNF with a mechanical problem, but besides that, today has been just run out perfectly for me. You know, the first race today had a really good run and good dice with Terry. Second race today, you know, he picked the game up just that notch better. He was running at lap record pace, so just wasn't able to hold with him today.
You said that you're going to step up to the 600s next year?
Yeah, that's the plan, to go there and then we'll take off where we left off and see how it goes. Should be good.
So if we have a look at the Superbike Championships, firstly in Formula 3, it is Glenn Williams taking the title from Terry Fitzgerald. Stephen Wood is third and Eric de Boer is fourth. Fifth place is Jason Nairn, and in sixth it is Mark Wigley. Seventh is Richard Newbury. And in the Pro Twins, this new championship class, Carl Morgan is the inaugural winner from Jeff Booth, Anthony Stevens, Alan Zitnick, Tom Boss, Paul Bernard, and in seventh place, David Cook. Welcome back to the 2008 Castrol New Zealand Superbike Road Race Championship as we're set on the line for the big one for the sidecars, Pav, and this is the New Zealand Tourist Trophy. And is it going to be another benefit for Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson? Well, it looks like it is because they get away first, and it looks like the Goodwin and James Rigg go into second place as they work their way into Jenny, and for the first time of 8 laps. Now, the program has been shortened.
Yeah, we had a few issues early in the day. So this is down to 8 laps. And you see the smoke flying off the rear tyres, off things off the start line too. They really just dump those clutches to get them away.
Well, a couple of changes we should mention as well, because we're riding here with the Scrivener Bryan rig, but it is in fact Steve Bryan at the controls, and Tim Gooden is doing the swinging. Andy Scrivener sitting this one out. And when we get an outside shot, you'll have a look, and it's got an L on the front plate instead of a 1. And that is to denote that Steve Bryan is a bit of a learner in the driving stakes. Well, this man is no learner.
Well, is that
Steve
learners
Bryan,
or lunatics, Phil?
Well, it could be a bit of both, I think, if you're racing the sidecar.
Seriously brave, eh?
Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson in control of this on the World Championship winning rig, the ex-Tim Reeves rig from the UK, heading up over Ford Mountain.
Tucking down as low as they can get to make them aerodynamic. Really important on these high-speed circuits.
Well, this performance is going to cement their title, the first title for Steve Bryan in the sidecars. And what a change half distance that the season made, because as we told you before, Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan won 3 out of 3 at Ruapuna, then went on to Timaru and did the same thing, but then had mechanical issues at the third round in Manfield, and that allowed Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson in. And the other thing we've got to factor in, Pav, is the fact that Bryan and Simonson are finally starting to get to grips with this new rig.
They are, and look, remember going back to Christchurch, Scrivener, they were very, very impressive around Christchurch. You know, they really gave them a lesson.
And they're having all sorts of mechanical issues in Christchurch, even with an overheating 1300 Hayabusa engine in their Southerby Engineering #1. You're riding with them here.
They look so much in control at Christchurch show. They really looked like they were just playing near the end of the races as well.
Well, they were, weren't they? We were watching it and they were showboating, waving to their fans, waving to the flag marshals. It was all way too easy for them, but it's the chickens have come home to roost here in the final round at Pukekohe.
Wow, it just makes you wonder how much more development they can do to this machine, because if they're going to be competitive for the whole season on these fast-flowing circuits, who knows, maybe there's some handling modifications that can be done to make it more competitive on the fast circuits.
Well, you mentioned a fast circuit, and this is the fastest in Australasia. It is essentially an oval with a couple of squiggles at each end. Oh, and there's some problems here for number 20, and that's Des James and John O'Shaw, and doesn't look like they're going to take too much further part. They push the bike onto the grass just out of the hairpin. Here are the Lawrence brothers, although it isn't the Lawrence brothers this time round. It is Richie Lawrence doing the driving. Now, he's normally the swinger for his brother Chris, but Chris unfortunately had an industrial accident and has broken his leg. And it is Tim Walland, a regular competitor in sidecars, with his brother doing the swinging for the Lawrences. So change is as good as a rest, I guess, Pav.
Oh, how can that be? How can you do this weekend out and then have an industrial accident like he did? It was just bizarre.
Well, the word is he just toppled off a ladder. It was just a little bit of bad luck for Chris Lawrence, and we wish him a speedy recovery. And talk about speedy, we got speedy here because Leighton Manel has moved up ahead of Steve Bryan and Tim Walland and gone into third place now.
These Lawrence boys, they're real stalwarts in this class. You know, everybody looks to them. They really are respected in sidecar racing.
Brian Reid and Darren Prentice in there as well. Here is the L there. You get a graphic look at it. Steve Bryan, the learner, behind the handlebars of the Southerby Engineering #1. They're not going to have that plate much longer because that title's going to fall to Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson. Behind them, another learning combination. It is Richie Lawrence and Tim Walland. And in behind them, I think you'll find it is number 28, and that is Perry Lett and Kelly Manel. So you're watching the learners, Steve Bryan and Tim Gooden, on the championship winning rig from last season, and they are nearly taken by the 28 there, Perry Lett, back on board here.
Looked like one of the boots had taken a big hit there too, Phil. Looked like the sole was half hanging off. Must have been dragging it on the ground too hard.
Well, they put their heart and soul into this, Pav.
They sure do. Shoulder blades hanging off the side round the corners. It's really, really hard yakka.
It is. You're watching Steve Bryan having a pretty steep learning curve here, in and out of the hairpin. You see the left hand working the clutch as he goes down through the gearbox. Now he'll shift up as he gets up to terminal velocity, round this gentle left and then up and over the top. And these is where all the bumps are, Pav.
They sure are. There's a hollow here. Boof, you can just see it. Trying to stay straight, coming over the hill here.
And how hard is it to pull them in tight when you're on three wheels?
I don't know. I've never driven one, but I'd imagine it'd be pretty hard. Look at the speeds they're doing too. They're averaging 156 kilometres an hour around here.
Well, that is the second fastest part of the racetrack, heading into the Jenny and Holmes sweeper. This big right-hander, and then that leads them on to the S's, so you've got to be precise. Watching on your screen the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th place. It is L, it is 28, and it also number 3. Richie Lawrence doing the driving.
Well, at the front end of the field, they're bronze down to a 65.2, and that's nearly half a second faster than he went in the first race. So these guys have really got the hammer down.
This is the 666 rig of Brian Reid and Darren Prentice. And Darren just, waving to somebody.
Maybe he's getting some blood circulating back through his arms.
Well, it could be that, because it is so hard on your arms, on your forearms especially. You see any swinger from a sidecar team, they have got arms like gorillas.
You see Annan's machine, they're just starting to get a bit of a squirm on as he puts the power on.
Well, Dave Annan, one of the veterans, he's up in 4th place, so this is a battle for 4th and 5th. And once again, the thumbs up from Darren Prentice. He thinks everything's good as they flash past the mechanics area. Back into the Jenny and Holmes sweeper they come.
Yeah, got his pit board, and it was probably flashing out there. They're doing a minute 10, so he's around about 4 seconds off the front guys, but he's doing his best.
Well, Dave Annan having one of his best results here in the championship. The championship brought to you, of course, by Castrol, by Motorcycle Trader and News, and by the New Zealand Motorcycle Distributors. All the brands representative in all the classes we cover, as we're back on board here with Steve Bryan and Tim Gooden in the Sowersby Engineering Hayabusa powered rig. Up into Castrol now.
Great to see the trade getting in behind the road race champs too. They're really appreciated. Without their support, it just wouldn't be as professional as it is.
Well, look at the gap they've got to make up if they want to get up to Brian Reid and Darren Prentice. You can't even see them. So they're out of the kink and already up into the braking area for the hairpin.
Seriously good braker though. Watch how strong these guys, how deep they go into the brakes.
And this is what amazed me. They come down through the gearbox and then they hit the anchors hard. And honestly, when I rode with the Lawrences, it was all I could do. Okay, I'm an absolute novice at this, but it was all I could do to stay on the rig. I nearly pitched forward and ended up on the grass.
Well, these swingers do an enormous amount of training to get their upper body strength up to speed, really.
So there is the number 3, and that is Richie Lawrence and Tim Wallen. So a little bit of a ragtag bunch out here today. Right in behind them, the 28, Perry Lett and Kelly Manell. Kelly Manell, of course, the wife of Leighton. Leighton running up in 3rd place at the moment as the battle here for 6th, 7th and 8th goes across the stripe and completes yet another lap. New Zealand Tourist Trophy up for decision here in the sidecars. Last race for them of the day at Pukekohe. 5th and final round of the New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship, brought to you by Castrol. But it's only the 4th and final round for the sidecars because, of course, they didn't go to Invercargill. Didn't go to the Deep South, Pev.
No, they didn't. And look, this is a really tight-knit community too, this sidecar fraternity. They really help each other. It's a real family-type environment. It's a credit to them.
This is the 15 rig, currently in 3rd place, Leighton Manell and Louise Blythel. And Leighton's sort of doing double duty while the Sidecar Championships is on because he's been racing in the Parker NZ New Zealand Jet Sprinting Championships as well, so he is a glutton for punishment.
Well, it sure is a sprint to the finish now. They're on their last lap. This is going to be it.
Well, in and out of the hairpin they come, and they're in danger of picking up Perry Lett and Kelly Manell before they get to the flag. 2nd place just in and out of the hairpin now. Peter Goodman and Gavin James, around about 4 seconds the difference. This has been a dominant performance for Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson. They're going to win the New Zealand title for the sidecars, and more importantly today, they're going to pick up the New Zealand Tourist Trophy as well. Chris Costello's got the checkered flag ready for Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson. It's been a dominant performance for them. In 2nd place it will be Peter Goodwin and Gavin James, and in 3rd place it'll be Leighton Manell and Louise Blythel. 4th will go to the veteran Dave Annan and Warwick Demmicks, and in 5th place it's 666 Brian Reid and Darren Prentice.
Steve, Dennis, I mean, another great result. You guys have clean swept 3 out of 3 for the weekend, and we can now honestly confirm the championship.
Yeah, no, been top effort. Both of us charged hard this weekend. Bikes went well, yeah, with a minor mishap. But apart from that, yeah, no, strong, starting to learn the bike. We're stoked.
I divided loyalties. I wanted to go well in the second race because it was the big race of the year, but my priority was still the championship. So once I settled into second, I could see Leighton when I went round the hairpin every time coming in. So I was quite happy to keep my position, and it consolidated my third. And for me to be a POM, moved into your country 2.5 years ago, and becoming a Kiwi slowly but surely, to get third in the championship for me is arguably a dream come true. I know it's not first, but third's great. I'm really proud. And I have to say, if it weren't for this guy here, Gavin, we would not be third in the championship. That guy, you know, is a legend on the back, and also he's been brilliant working on the bike because I've got 2 left hands. So he's been great, wonderful.
Gavin, you've enjoyed the championship?
It's just been the most amazing championship I've ever been in. The fastest racing. I'd say probably some of the best sidecar racing ever in New Zealand. So hopefully we can all keep it up and do another round next year.
Guys, it's been another good weekend for you. I mean, third for the final race in the TT Trophy. You're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, really stoked, Jamie. Great way to finish the weekend for us, even the year for us, really. New team, as we said earlier, and we just wanted to finish this weekend on a high and try and get up there on that podium, which we did in the end. It was a struggle the whole way, but it was great fun.
Louise, there's not a lot to you. How do you contend with the bumps around this place? I mean, Pukekohe is a challenging track.
It was challenging along the straight here. I felt like I was bouncing off half the time and I could feel myself lifting, and I just had to hold on and put my trust into Leighton. And it's good. It was challenging though, and pretty tiring.
So look at the final results in the sidecars. It sees Steve Bryan and Dennis Simonson the champions for 2008. Andy Scrivener, Steve Bryan a second, and Peter Goodwin and Gavin James through in third. Fourth place is Leighton Manel and Louise Blythel, and in fifth it's Chris and Richie Lawrence. One race to come at Pukekohe. It is the 125s. We've seen how close the racing is here. How close is it going to be this time, Pav? It's the Tourist Trophy for the 125s.
Well, the light charge of the light brigade, they're underway. Like this is a nest of angry hornets, and the racing we've seen has been fantastic. Like the top 10, you could cover them in a blanket.
Well, it's the 114 on the front, and that is Kirk Pritchard, and we've seen him come from the back virtually to the front in the previous races here this afternoon. What can he do this time round? The one to watch for is number 9. He's the champion-elect, and that is Cameron Jones. But it's the 114 coming through, and Tim MacArthur there, the 39 there in it as well. So too Adam Chambers.
It sure is about hard braking too in this class, and fast cornering speed. These things have got around about 40-odd horsepower, little single-cylinder two-stroke. Most of them out there are Hondas, Phil.
Yeah, we've only got a couple of Yamahas in there. And the Hondas, I guess, Pav, because they're affordable, and you've mentioned it before, that this is like Jap import racing.
It is. You can buy a bike like this for 7 or 8 grand and get out there and be competitive. It's just amazing. Look at this.
So across the line they go, 114, Pritchard in the front, Jones in second place, then it's Chambers, Jason Easton, the veteran, in there in fifth place. Just up ahead of him it is Tim MacArthur. Things about to change now as they come into the S's. Oh, Cameron Jones had a good long look on the inside of Pritchard, couldn't make the pass work, but I think Easton's moved up a spot here. Chambers goes back to fourth, then it is the 39 of MacArthur.
Well, keep an eye out too for number 21, Avalon Biddle. She's a young lass, and boy is she good around Pukekohe.
Look at this, you can certainly see when they go to the brakes, they virtually stand up on the pegs, use the wind as much as the twin disc brakes on these little 125cc machines. Pritchard hangs on to it, but I think Jones has got the better of him. No, Pritchard's got track position, so he stays in front. It's the 114, the motorbikes.co.nz sponsored man from Cromwell.
Well, there's about 9 of these guys currently running in the 1 minute 6 bracket. They're actually holding each other up a little bit because the lap record is held by Midge Smart. You might recall he's been doing incredibly well in the 600 sports production class. He's been around here at 64.5.
Wow, that is a fair bit quicker than what we've seen these guys go. We've got a leader change. It's number 39 in the front now, and that is Tim MacArthur from Dunedin. And right in behind him, it's Christchurch's Cameron Jones, and these two have been doing this right throughout the 5 rounds of the Castrol Oils New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships for 2008. And look at this, they're not done with yet. The veteran comes down the inside. Oh, and MacArthur splits them. They're going to be 3 abreast going into the hairpin path. When have you seen that before?
Just incredible. Jason Easton looks like he's got the march on them.
Well, Easton's starting to show out. He's probably the most experienced. He's probably the oldest in the field, and he's probably one of the heaviest as well, but he's doing a fantastic job on his little Honda 125. Nothing MacArthur can do about it. You see Jones just shuffling back there. He's coming into the clutches now of Chambers. That's the battle for third and fourth. And there as well as number 114, and that's Pritchard. He was the early race leader, so they're shuffling from the back to the front of this field.
I was talking to Paul Cook from Pit Stop Otahu. They're the ones who are sponsoring this particular race. And he said, look, unless you're 60 kgs, you really don't have a chance of winning these races.
We focus in on the number 5, the Red Devil Racing Swan Insurance Honda of James Mackay. Currently sitting in about 6th place, but forget about where he's sitting at the moment. It doesn't matter that if you're leading with 1 lap to go. It's a little bit like Formula First racing. Doesn't guarantee that you'll win the race. They come from as far back as 8th and 9th in that last lap.
Yeah, it teaches these young kids racecraft too. A lot of emphasis on slipstreaming and planning ahead.
And I guess, Paul, with the lack of power, it's all about carrying the speed through the corners as well. And I know that's Dennis Charlotte always says that it's his 125 racing that's got him where he is now. And, of course, now he's the new 600 Sports Production champion.
Well, if you look at the MotoGP too, a lot of those champions have come through the ranks. 125, 250, then the big class. So you're right. It's all about learning how to keep that throttle open longer.
Well, Jason Easton just got his pocket picked there by Tim MacArthur. Pritchard's right back up there as well. Cameron Jones tucked under the loom. We've got a couple down in the S's by the look of it. Just saw the glimpse of fiberglass hitting tarmac. 2 down.
At least they're sitting up. That's a good sign.
Well, it is. But I think we might see a restart here. The rest of the field funnel in and out of the hairpin. Still MacArthur in the front, Jones in second. Pritchard is there, Easton is there as well. Chambers back in 5th place now.
One of the things this teaches is patience too. You can't get the red haze on. You've got to plan. Otherwise you end up making mistakes.
Well, there's a graphic example. Oh, and the red flag comes out. The ambulance out on the circuit as well. So the race is stopped. Well, at 4 laps at half distance, we're getting set for the restart now. We've lost a couple, but the heavy hitters are still there. And once again, it's a great start on the centre of the racetrack for Jason Easton. He's going to lead it into Genian. Here comes Cameron Jones. Pritchard is right there. So too is Chambers. So it's the usual suspects back at the front, Pav.
Jones looks really good too. He looks very, very smooth.
Must be hard for someone like Jason Easton that's obviously used to close racing. We've seen him in Formula 3 before on his amazing little TIG craft. And when there, you'd have to say he probably had an advantage with power and handling, but here the bikes are just so even. And we've mentioned it before, he's probably a little bit bigger, certainly a lot older than some of these guys.
Well, it will be an uphill battle if you're if you're over 60 kgs on a 40 horsepower motorbike, you've got your work cut out.
Cameron Jones, the Dunlop shod bike, the number 9, the Honda in the front. Chambers has worked his way up into 2nd place now. It's a great result for the man from Hawke's Bay, the Swan Insurance Clive Charles sponsored machine. There is Jason Easton out of the Manawatu.
It's very strong too down the South Island 125 racing. There's a good progression from the 150 street stock. So yeah, this is great stuff.
Well, there is absolutely nothing in it for the battle for 2nd through about 5th. Cameron Jones just got a little bit of advantage now as they come through the S's again. Chambers closes that up as they head into Castrol. And look at the speed he carries out onto the back straight. So that's going to put him in good stead when they get to the end of the long straight here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. It's the Castrol 2008 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. It's the Tourist Trophy for the 125s. And it's 2 races within 1, Pav. We saw a frantic 4 laps. The race was stopped. We've restarted it. And we're back to the status quo. Chambers used that speed he carried into the back straight to good advantage. He goes into the lead.
It was always going to happen, wasn't it? He carried very good speed onto the back straight, and you knew he was just biding his time as that little Honda slipstream past Cameron Jones.
Oh, and Jones down the inside as they come up over the Ford Mountain. It's one thing I've been impressed with young Jones is even when he seems to be in trouble, he can get himself out of it, and he's done it here again. He fans across the line. He'll be in 2nd place. Here comes the challenge now from Dunedin's Tim MacArthur. He's back in 3rd. Then we've got Mackay through in 4th. Now, what's happened to Jason Easton?
Wow, looks like he's dropped back.
He shuffled back to about 8th place. Just a slight mistake is all it's going to take.
He's going to come back, though. You know he's a charger. He won't settle for 8th place.
So they fan out as they go through the kink on the long back straight here at Pukekohe. Cameron Jones and Chambers arguing about the #1 spot at the moment. Adam Chambers doing a good job down the inside. Here comes the last of the late breakers right around them, and I got a feeling that was Pritchard. Man, what a move.
That was a serious bit of late breaking. He's been watching Andrew Stroud, hasn't he?
Well, I think he has, and he's up against another one of the last of the late breakers, and that's Tim MacArthur in the 39, and it was Pritchard, and he's moved his way up into 3rd place. You've got to be brave on these things, Pev.
That you do. Look, the difficulty too of those really, really late braking exercises on the 125 is you lose your cornering speed at the hairpin.
Well, a big move this time is coming from #5, and that's James Mackay. He goes into the front. Cameron Jones slots into 2nd place. Then it is Chambers, and then right in behind them it is Pritchard, and then in behind them the 39, and then it is Easton. So all of the heavy hitters are there. We've got probably half a lap to go down the back straight for the last time. Who's going to win this race? Will it be the guys in the front? At the moment, Cameron Jones sitting pretty at the front of the field. Mackay moves up the inside and dives down under braking, so he's going to lead it coming out of the hairpin. But is he going to lead it at the finish line, Pav?
Well, it's a sprint. There's 7 of them that are in the contention here.
So 5 in the front. This is James Mackay. 2nd place man. The last time we looked it was Jones. It's not anymore. It's Adam Chambers. And then I think it might be Tim MacArthur making a run. In the 39, right in behind him, Jason Easton. Up and over the top they come. Checkered flags are going to come out, and it's going to be the 5. He's going to get there. So it is James Mackay that saves his best performance for last. In 2nd place it is Adam Chambers, and in 3rd place it is Kirk Pritchard. 4th place it is Alistair Hugenbosom, and in 5th place it's Jason Easton. 6 goes to Tim MacArthur, and 7th the champion, Cameron Jones.
I started off in 4th place for the second half of the race, and basically knew that I had to go out and win it, but at the end of the day I could only give everything I had, and came away with it, so no, I was really happy.
Now for something different. It's Sunshine, Surf and Babes from the beach at Whangamata in 2009. Let's go Thundercat racing.
Round 1 of last year's Summer Thunder Series was at the traditional holiday destination spot of Whangamata. As the surf got up, the crashes got bigger. Plenty of action, thrills and spills, and in the end, it was Rough Rider that came out on top to win round 1 of Summer Thunder. Round 2, well, we headed south. We went to Mount Maunganui for more big air, huge crowds, and plenty of sunshine. Once again, it was Rough Rider proving too good for the rest of the field, and they won 2 out of 2. 3rd and final round was in the nation's capital, Wellington, at Lyle Bay, a popular surf spot and a popular spot for Thundercats as well. Problems for Rough Rider meant the win went to Yokohama. Who will win this year? Keep watching, you'll find out. It's the Bit Defender, Summer Thunder for 09.
For the 2009 Summer Thunder Series. How do you think it's going to go, Tony?
Well, we're in the Coromandel. We've got Thundercats here. Look at the sunshine. The crowds are going to roll in. The surf's rolling in. It's not huge, but it'll be enough to trip the boats up. It's a relatively small course. We've got last year's champion in Rough Rider, other top boats returning. We've got some pretenders in boats like Crash Pad, Waikato Sandblasting, and on top of that we've got some new guys, new teenagers in the boat called Smuggler. It'll be interesting to see how they all mix it up today.
Awesome. Well, it looks like the first race is about to kick off, so we better get to the action.
Better get going.
Whangamata, a traditional holiday spot in the Kiwi summer, lived up to its billing. It was sunny, it was windy, there wasn't a whole lot of surf, but there were heaps and heaps of people to watch round 1 of the Bit Defender Summer Thunder 09. Whangamata on the Coromandel Peninsula, and there is the course. And you'll see on the last lap, it's a straight shoot to the beach. That's when it gets exciting in Summer Thunder. Green flag up. We are just about set to go in heat number 1 here at Whangamata, round 1 of the Bit Defender Summer Thunder for 2009. You're on board here with Monsoon, Mike Warren. Well, they've got a problem, and you've really got to get away to a fantastic start, and that's what Crash Pad has done. Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley. Crash Pad coming on board as sponsors of the series this year. They sponsor the Finish Line pontoons. And they are out at a good lead. They look, oh, they've got a problem. I think they've lost their cutout. And on the last lap, it means that Waikato Sandblasting goes into the front. The Anglo-Kiwi combination, Greg Powell as the pilot and Sarah Burrell, the UK champion, the co-pilot, they win heat number 1. In second place, it is Crash Pad. In third place, all the Steve Frogley and Morrison and Plum Quick. And in fourth place, CMC Markets. Novatech round out the top 5.
On the way out, there's enough waves, and then as you go around the top corner, the wind just gets under the hull, and you got to be careful because we were chasing the other boat, but I didn't want to come too far back because if we hit a wave and the wind gets underneath us, we'll go over. And we had a couple of close calls, didn't we?
Not really. I just about fell out, so I got catapulted around a bit and got a bit dazed, and then they went straight past us, so it's a bit of a shame, but never mind.
Family summer scenes here at Whangamata as we get set for Heat 2 here of Summer Thunder, and away they go. And as I said before, a good start is imperative. Jungle Coffee gets in the boat straight away, but it's a brilliant start out there from Rough Rider by the look of it. So they head out to the first mark. There is Rough Rider. They were virtually unbeatable last year, and that is Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers from Auckland. Spaceships here. This is Neil Geddes and Taxi Hudson. They've got a good start going as well. Plenty of air as they head back out to sea once again. 5 laps. Oh, some problems there, and that's the new boys. That's Charge that's gone over. Well, Trevor Rudekirk, no stranger to racing, will get a baptism of fire here as we go back on board with Spaceships, looking from the helmet cam of Neil Geddes, the pilot. And you can see the sort of impact these guys take, certainly as they go through the wake and the wash. Brilliant pictures here from Summer Thunder 2009. But out in the front, the story is the same. It is all Rough Rider as we ride down toward the beach once again with Spaceships. 1 lap to go, and it's the men that set it afire last year doing it again. Cole Arnott takes the win in Rough Rider. Second place is Jungle Coffee. In third place, it's Line 7, and in fourth place, the PBS Group. Fifth place is our helmet cam, and that is Spaceships.
It's a bit choppier out there than it looks. It's actually quite hard work, even though there's no big swells coming in.
Yeah, it was really challenging conditions out there, so it was a good ding-dong battle.
Heat 3 at 12 now, and we're right in there on the start. This is Demon Energy, and they're onto the boat, so they've got a good start going, and so too is Tony Verkouteren and Aaron Fifield. In fact, I think they'll be in the front as they head to the buoy for the first time. And you get a great perspective here from our helicam. And it is Goodyear, Tony Verkouteren and Aaron Fifield. Now, Tony Verkouteren will have unhappy memories of Whangamata. He broke his leg here a couple of seasons ago. This is CSI. And this is H2O Full Throttle, Dave Goodwin and Mark Hollywood Ranger, and they're showing real good pace here as they come up on Kerry Wood and Russell Litchwick. Oh, and there's a bit of a, well, you got to pick your line right here, and it didn't work for H2O. Maybe they couldn't carry the speed. These guys could, though, and Tony Verkouteren wins heat number 3. So Goodyear get on the board. CSI is second. Bit Defender is third after H2O Full Throttle made a mistake on the final buoy, and Smuggler Marine come through in 5th.
A little bit windy out there, so it's going to might play into it a little bit today. Just going around B-Boy, it sort of starts picking up.
Russell Litchwick, co-pilot for Bit Defender.
Kerry Wood, pilot, Bit Defender.
Pilot Kerry Wood has been in the sport over 8 years, and in that time has raced all over New Zealand and Australia. Kerry's company, Bit Defender, a software antivirus computer program, has come on board as the series sponsor, so there's an added pressure to perform for this experienced duo. Russell Litchwick is the Bit Defender co-pilot, and he's been with Kerry for the past 3 years. They forged their partnership in their old boat, Quicken. Over the season, they racked up a whole lot of top 5 places, including a few wins.
That was a good race, actually. I got to take my head off to my pilot. Yeah. It was the master against the apprentice.
Kerry had injury problems last year and put past champions Flash Gordon Vandy and Warren Was Pilcher in the boat, where they finished 3rd in the series. We know the boat's got the potential, but can one of the older combinations deliver in the white-hot atmosphere that is Summer Thunder? Keep an eye on Boat 55.
In the game again after 2 years out of action.
Yeah, a couple of years ago I broke my foot in a few places, and last year I broke my leg, so it's good to be back in the water after 2 years. Yeah, great stuff.
I bet. You've been biting at the bit just to get out there, eh?
Well, yeah, it's hard sitting on the beach watching all the guys have a good time and, sort of like a bridesmaid at a wedding sort of thing, you know? Just really want to get out amongst it. It's a great day. It's actually quite rough out there. I don't know if anyone else has said. Out the back, it's like a washing machine. It's really great out there.
action hardly ever stops here at Whangamata as we await the start of heat number 4. The green flag drops, we're underway. It's a dead engine start, remember, Le Mans start. Dribbler closest to camera, a little bit slow getting away, but it's Robert Page Engineering that's got the drop on the rest of the field. Line 7 coming at them as well, and they get very close to the helicopter. Here is the helicam shot, and it's Robert Page Engineering from Tauranga, Hayden Elmsley and Jordan Polly in the front. And they have cleared away as they run adjacent to the beach for the first time. Lap 1 of 5. Oh, and problems there for Robert Page Engineering, and they've blown off the course. Well, what happened there? Have a look at it on the replay. Line 7 coming in, just a little bit hot over the wave. They touch, there's definite contact. Line 7 turns sharply and, well, that's ruined their race, I would think. Robert Page Engineering stays on track and they're in the front from our helicam. Well, they're in the front for now because I'm sure the on-beach judges will want to have a look at that. Slate Creek comes through in second. Nick Waskett and Matt Oak. Just in behind them, it'll be Smuggler. That's the father and son combination, Logan and David Pringle. But out in the front for the moment, Robert Page Engineering. And there's problems here for the dribbler. Well, they got a great start. The race has been stopped. We got a boat upside down. So it is Slate Creek that gets the win. In second place, it'll be Smuggler Marine. In third, Bit Defender. Robert Page was penalised 50% for that altercation with line 7. That means they will be fourth. So the prop changes here for Salter Cartage. Another new combination this season. We're into race number 5 here of 12. The action hardly ever stops in the Summer Thunder for 2009. CMC Markets get a good start, but so too the Steve Frogley and Morrison in Plumquick. CMC Markets, the lightest combination, so that might help them in these difficult conditions. Bit of a washing machine out as they run adjacent to the beach. There is Plumquick, closest to our helicam camera, and there is CMC Markets. Well, these guys have been around a long time. They've raced all around the world in Thundercat racing, but they're playing second fiddle at the moment to the young guns, Gary Waller and Rebecca Gray. There is Rough Rider now, unaccustomed to seeing them at the back of the field. Well, in the mid-pack, it might as well be the back because they've been the dominant combination. This is the PBS group. They're having a battle royal of their own, and watch how the co-pilot just moving all the time. Spaceships coming into contention as well here as we get very, very close to the helicopter. Great footage from our helicam. So this is the battle for the miners at the moment. The PBS group in there, so too is Spaceship. CMC Markets is going to take the win there, first of the season. So the young guns get the drop on the oldies. CMC Markets wins it. Plumquick is second. Spaceships is third. Then it's Rough Rider, the defending champions, and then the PBS group.
It's getting a little bit flatter. The waves are picking up a bit and the wind's changed direction, so it just makes things a little bit more interesting.
Nice to beat Rough Rider. We don't normally come in front of him, so yeah, good result.
We're at the halfway mark in the heats. Heat number 6 here at Whangamata, round 1 of Summer Thunder. Closest to camera, Waikato Sandblasting, but getting away the best of all is Jungle Coffee, Glenn Benand and Greg Norman. Look at this, 4 abreast as they head out to sea for the first of 5 times. So on the inside it is Jungle Coffee, and they've got the advantage as they head to turn number 1. And they extend that advantage. Just a nice smooth line for Glenn Benand and Greg Norman. This is Goodyear. Now they're stuck back in the pack a little bit. We didn't see the customary good start from Tony Vercoutrin and Aaron Fifield. Problems here for Crashpad, just taking the long way around, trying to get closer to Goodyear. Can't do it at the moment. No change at the front though. Still Jungle Coffee. Oh, they've got a race on their hands though as they head down towards the beach once again. This will get the crowd excited. Jungle Coffee hit the beach first and they win it, but it was close. In second place it was CSI, and in third place it was Nova Technologies. Fourth place goes to Tony Vercoutrin and Goodyear, and in fifth place it's the Wellington combination, Get Funked.
The first race we didn't go that well. Our prop wasn't working that well, so we changed props and it's really hooking up nicely for us.
So as we get to the halfway stage here at Whangamata, round 1, it is Jungle Coffee in the front. Second place is CSI, that's a bit of a surprise. And then a 3-way tie between CMC Markets, Goodyear and Rough Rider. A new feature of the coverage of Summer Thunder 09 this season is Thunder Time. And the first episode starts. To tell us all about it, Tony Vercoutrin.
Well, the drivers, they run Le Mans style to the boats taken from Le Mans racing in France. They don't do it anymore. They need seatbelts. We don't. So you can see here, the nearest boat, he's got to run the furthest because that boat goes round the corner in the quickest times. Those drivers out wide, they need to get into their boats quicker than the inside ones.
And it's a dead engine start, Tony.
Absolutely. The drivers have got to be clinical here. They need to be able to get the kill switch in, get the boat started. We see some problems here with monsoon. If you're not off to a quick start, you've got problems trying to catch those other boats.
And is there a rule heading into the first buoy?
Absolutely. On this lap 1, those boats have got to maintain the lanes they're in. The wide ones, they go outside. A little orange buoy you'll see here, while the ones on the inside, they can go inside it. For the rest of the race, though, it's all on.
So that is starts. If you get a good one, you're on the way to the races. If you get a bad one, you're in trouble. Will we see a good one here? Heat number 7 at Whangamata. And it is a good start, looks like, coming for Jungle Coffee once again, where they're leading on the points, and they're going to lead them up to the first buoy. This is a battle for second and third. Crash pad in there. That's Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley, and line 7 with them as well. Then Spaceships coming into contention as well. But it's one-way traffic at the front of the field, and once again, Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman are going to win at a canter. So the points start to add up for Jungle Coffee. They win it from Crash Pad. H2O Full Throttle are through in third place, and it's the PBS Group and Spaceships.
It was a tough race. Kept looking back, and all we could see was Crash Pad, and thinking, oh no, here we go again.
Well, I can see we're going to have to drink more coffee because we can't catch these guys, and no matter how many painkillers I take, I still get a sore hand, so...
Well, we join Heat 8 in progress, and this is Waikato Sandblasting, Greg Powell and Sarah Burrell. So we're about half distance, and they've got a good lead at the moment. This is Quicken, this is Zane Randall and Anthony Coombs. Got a bit of work to do. They've had a bit of bad luck here at Whangamata. Waikato Sandblasting, though, take an easy win in heat number 8. We're getting to the business end, folks. Goodyear is second, CMC Market is third, and then Novo Technologies is fourth. Bit Defender, Kerry Wood and Russell Litchwark are fifth.
Anthony Park, co-pilot for CSI.
Craig Sutherland, pilot of CSI.
Craig Sutherland is a 24-year-old builder, and his co-pilot of 2 seasons is electrician Anthony Park. Craig, or Sudsy as he's known, has been in the sport for 4 seasons, with his co-pilot Anthony's company being the only sponsor he has ever had. Just like Victor Kayam with shavers, Anthony liked the sport so much that 2 years ago he decided it was his time to get wet. And he's been the co-pilot ever since. Last year, the dedication and the teamwork paid off, with CSI taking its first ever win.
Wow, congratulations. I understand that's you guys' first win, eh?
For the Nationals, yeah. Not
Awesome.
too bad for our fishing boat since we blew the first one up on the Whangamata.
Winning seems to be a habit, and that was certainly the case for CSI a couple of heats later.
Well done. Hello again.
Thank you. I think our fishing boat's better than our race boat.
The boat favours the heavier conditions and the big surf. They're not the lightest combination, and they struggle on the flat.
What do you think of today's conditions?
I think they're actually going to suit us with the quite breezy, and boat seems to go a bit better with the wind, so definitely be looking to get in the top 10 after today.
If friendship and experience count for anything, you can guarantee that CSI will be in the sharp end of Summer Thunder 2009. So the calm before the storm as we get set for heat number 9, and this is the 2 Wellington combinations battling out for the minors. Demon Energy, Chris Brown, and Get Funk there, both of them out of Wellington. Probably not used to these conditions. These guys are, though. They're looking for redemption, and they got it in heat 9. This is Cole Arnott. He wins another one on Rough Rider. Second place is Plum Quick, and third place it is Slate Creek. Then it's Salter Cartage, and then it is CSI. That's how they finish in heat number 9.
Which boat are you guys supporting?
Black Pepper, which is the black and blue one. It's their first time this season, so a little bit nervous.
Oh, exciting, eh?
Yeah, all good.
Heat number 10 of 12, the green flag drops and we're underway with the Le Mans start. First to their boats, well, it looks like it's Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman once again. They're closest to our camera. CMC Market's with them as well as they head out to the first mark, if you like. Out to sea they go. Good start coming from the outside with Spaceships. There is Spaceships, but they're chasing Jungle Coffee. Well, the blend is absolutely right for Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman, and they look like they're going to take another one. Spaceships still in second, Neil Geddes and Taxi Hudson, but it's all Jungle Coffee They win heat number 10. Second place is Spaceships. In third, it's CMC Market. CSI is fourth, and in fifth place, it is Line 7.
Having the likes of Spaceships to race against and all of the boats, actually, it's been a great day.
Oh, you know, we held it out right until I think the last lap, and they got us, but they're on fire today, so they were just sitting there waiting.
Well, we join heat number 11 in progress, and this is Waikato Sandblasting. The PBS group coming good as well. Kyle Burdett and Gavin Smith. And right in behind them, we've got the veterans, and that is Plum Quick, Steve Frogley, Steve Morrison. This is Bit Defender, Kerry Wood having a better run. They had problems in the early going here. Waikato Sandblasting, though, take the win. It's going to be desperately close for second and third, though. Here is Plum Quick, and PBS Group are right beside him, and PBS Group win the sprint, and they'll get second. So brilliant stuff running on the beach for the PBS Group. And that was fantastic work from Gavin Smith. So they are second. Waikato Sandblasting get the win.
Our second heat was bad. We had water in the carbs, but we're making up for it. We drained the carbs, and that one, we were flying out the back. We nearly took off. It was awesome.
Very, very close race with a few waves coming right up on DNA boy that just, you got to pick some pretty good lines to make it work.
Well, here we are, heat number 12, the last heat before the finals. Another good start coming from Crashpad. Also getting away well was Nova Technology. But it's that combination again. It is Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers and Rough Rider getting away. Good start too from Ribs Norton and Sam Mills and Nova Tech. Goodyear just need to do a bit of work here as well. Novatech just blown out of the corner. That's going to cost them big time. All that good work undone. Good work for these guys, though. Another win as we're on board here with Goodyear as they run toward the beach. Tony Vercautrin and Aaron Fifield. There is Rough Rider. They win the final heat, so they have the last say of the day before we get to the finals. Second place is Goodyear, and in third place it is Crashpad.
Stoked with that. Got our start good, and the boat's going good. Yamaha, can't beat Yamaha engines, so it's going awesome, eh?
Well, after 12 heats, this is the way the points look like for the final. Jungle Coffee comes out on top. Rough Rider is second. Waikato Sandblasting third. Goodyear and Plum Quick. That will decide the grid position. CMC Markets, CSI, Crashpad, Spaceships and PBS Group will be in the final as well. 10 of the best in Summer Thunder 09. In this edition of Thunder Time, we talk about racing around the buoys, more especially from A to B. Once again, I call on the expert, Tony Vercautrin.
Well, Phil, this is the type of racing that all Thundercat races come into the sport for. This is where going out to sea, they're hitting the waves. Crew work is essential. This is where the co-pilot, he gets knocked around. His timing as he goes through the air is important. The driver, well, it's all throttle time, on and off, through those waves.
We see in racing that line selection is important. Is it the same in Thundercats?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's more crucial. Coming around those buoys, if you've got too much pace and you're hitting a wave full on, well, this is the sort of thing that can happen. So you really have to be aware as you're turning that bottom mark what's coming at you as you go back out to sea.
Well, you see the Super Dockets final board out, so that means we are down to the finale, and there are the finalists, the top 10 point scorers here at Whangamata, round one of Summer Thunder 09. You're on board here with the Goodyear crew, Vercautrin and Fifield, but it's Rough Rider that's got away the best of all. Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman chasing them hard in Jungle Coffee. Good clearance over the top wave as they run up into the first buoy. This is from our helicam shot. And you can see they're fanned out across the harbour here at Whangamata, and the big crowd have been waiting a long time for this. Crashpad starting to put the acid on Rough Rider. Rough Rider's got the inside run as they go through the second buoy, and they're bow to bow. Well, we've seen this in the heats, and in fact, I think there was a touch. Have a look at it on the replay. Did Crashpad come in to Rough Rider? I think they did. Well, they were lucky they weren't decapitated. So action aplenty here, 2 of 5 laps down, and it's Crashpad through in second place. Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley, but they're chasing Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers. This is Waikato Sandblasting. Now they're chasing Crashpad, and they've had a good run all through the day here at Whangamata. There's Plumquick. They'd be back in about 4th place at the moment, but out in the front it is the defending champions, and that is Rough Rider, and here they are taking a rough ride as they head down towards the buoy once again. You can see the swimmers enjoying the summer conditions here at Whangamata. It's round 1 of Summer Thunder, and these guys heading for the beach now. They ended last season as the combination to beat. They'll start the 2009 Summer Thunder as the combination to beat because they'll win the final here at Whangamata. Rough Rider, Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers get the win. In 2nd place it will be Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley in Crash Pad, and in 3rd place it's Waikato Sandblasting.
Few close moments there with Crash Pad coming around the first corner.
Yeah.
Looked up and he was right on top of me, so it's pretty good fun. Had a dodgy moment just at the end here.
Yeah, what happened there? You nearly lost it.
The wind's tricky, like it's quite deceiving. You can come over some small waves, but you get the wind under your hull and it just lifts you up.
You nearly took him out at the end there.
Yeah, nearly. He's a couple of metres ahead of us, but we've got a lot of top-end speed and not a lot of bottom-end speed. So we're going to be careful when we go around the corners so we lose a lot of power.
Well, if you have a look at the points after round 1, Rough Rider have started their season well once again. Jungle Coffee in 2nd place, Waikato Sandblasting and Goodyear having a pretty close competition, and it's Plumquick back in 5th.
Well, what a fantastic start to the 2009 Summer Thunder Series here at Whangamata. You could not have asked for better conditions.
Yeah, right, Micaiah. Hey, Coromandel, they really turned it on today.
Yep.
Look, the surf was variable. Some races it really dictated play. The wind came into play, as we can feel now. That really made it interesting for the crews out there. Some of the lighter crews, they went backwards. Once again, racing dominated by the same boat as last year, Rough Rider. Not only did they win the final today, they also dominated on points. They're closely followed by Jungle Coffee and Waikato Sandblasting. Crash Pad, well, they crashed the party. They came 2nd in the final. They have more work to do overnight, as do many other boats. There's only 60 points separating the top 4 boats going into tomorrow, and hey, we'll see some changes tomorrow at Mount Maunganui.
Now it's into the forests and gravel roads for the Nelson round of the 2007 Rally Extreme Series.
The 0800 Boxman Rally of Nelson was not only the final round of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery National Rally Championship, but in association with Chicane Racewear, Palmside and Racetech Seats, it was the first of 2 finals to decide the Rally Extreme Challenge. With 11 top 4-wheel drive competitors from both islands and 6 in 2-wheel drive, the stage was set for an amazing first final. The 4 morning stages were double passes of stages 1 and 2, 33-kilometre Shirt Cliffs and Trash Valley at 24.33 kilometres. But the real drama happened 100 metres into the first stage when electrical problems eliminated local favourite Kieran Hall's Mitsubishi. This left the way clear for Kaikoura brothers Regan and Nigel Ross. They had proved their speed against their northern brothers when they won the Daybreaker outright, but were not eligible for the Extreme title. Here at Nelson, they had their customary fast start, winning the 33.92-kilometre Shirt Cliffs test in 20.04 seconds. Jeff Judd and Marty Stevenson may have conceded stage 1 to the Rosses, but came back in stage 2. First pass of Trass Valley, covering the 24-kilometre test in 14.33.9, 16 seconds quicker than the Rosses.
To Kinks, 120. To Crest, to 4 left. Crest, then 4 left. 60 to 4 left. To Kinks, 150. To 4 left into 3 right. To a 4 left minus opens. 30.
Seated third in the Rally Extreme first final was Kingsley Jones and Waverley Nation. They had won the Wairarapa Rally and finished a strong second at Hawke's Bay to qualify third equal among the Northerners, and were another combination favoured by many. But sadly their rally ended on special stage 3 with gearbox problems. The last time we saw the Clendons, Kathleen and Peter, they were limping to the finish of the Daybreaker. But here at Nelson, and after an extensive and expensive rebuild, the Hawke's Bay Rally winners were in great shape. Top 5 stage times in the morning saw them in touch with their southern rivals. Another North Island combination expected to do well was Auckland's Matt Jensen and Brett Wright in their Santa Rosa Chicken Mitsubishi. Coming off a win in the infamous Daybreaker, their rally here in Nelson, like so many, would end early in stage 2 with turbo problems. Les Summerfield and Matt King from Rangiora had made the finals with good consistent finishes in all of the qualifying rounds. They had made their customary cautious start with an 8th and 1, but then a brace of thirds saw them third for the morning's work, albeit 2 minutes behind Judd. Seated 43rd, you've got to remember that the Rally Extreme cars were starting behind the national competitors, was another almost local in David G. He had a new co-driver for Nelson and a new attitude. Seated first in the two-wheel drive section of the Racetech Chicane Raceware Palmside Rally Extreme first final was the Avis North Shore sponsored pair of Grant Liston and Rob Scott. The normally dominant Honda had real competition here in Nelson and could only manage a string of second places. And that competition came from this man. Te Ara was David Wright. Plagued by transmission gremlins in the qualifying rounds, Wright and co-driver Dana Brooks finally found the missing link, and at Nelson they were flying. Earmarked as one to watch by series coordinator Dave Lachlan, Wright had put time into Liston in all 4 morning stages. He took 9 seconds off him in 1, and when Liston struck problems in 2, a whopping 1 minute 40 in special stage 2. The die had been cast, and an upset was on the cards. How serious were Anton Meyer and Dave Davenport about the Rally Extreme Challenge? This new car built for the finals should answer that question. Pakaranga's Craig Stevens had got used to chasing Grant Liston all around the rally roads of the North Island, and usually having to settle for second. But here in Nelson, he was in unfamiliar territory, third for the morning's work behind Wright and Liston. Rallying can be a cruel sport, and feeling that at Nelson was Brendan Oakton and Brian Pipe. A fine second place at the Daybreaker filled the Northerner with hopes for the finals, but those hopes were dashed when alternator problems cost them 12 minutes in stage 2. That was virtually game over. Auckland student Cameron Cox in his Evo 3 was another Northerner to experience the South Island roads for the first time. With consistent top 5s in the morning stages, save for his 9th and 4, the second pass through the Trass Valley. He was 5th overall at the halfway mark. Marcus van Klink had been the top South Island qualifier, and after an eye-opening raid to the north in the Daybreaker, was glad to be on nearly home soil. Unable to match the speed of the Northerners in the morning, he was the best South Island two-wheel driver in 4th place. Chasing him hard, as he had done in most of the South Island qualifying rounds, was another Cantab in Cameron Moore. Not only was this a battle for the top South Islanders, but it was a battle of the Toyotas as well, with the Levin playing second fiddle to the Van Klink Corolla. Rounding out the two-wheel drive field was yet another Toyota in the hands of Kelly Houghton from Waikanae. Inside the top 15 places by morning's end and 5th in two-wheel drive. With the usual sunny Nelson weather deserting the 0800 Boxman Rally, replaced by showers, overcast and blustery wind, and a promise of more to come in the afternoon, that meant there was plenty on the minds of the drivers, both what had happened before and what was yet to come. Jeff Judd explains.
We've got anti-lag hooked up on the car and it's a lot more responsive, and I love these roads, and yeah, we're going pretty well. Yeah, our engine was gone at the end of South Canterbury, so we had to rebuild it, so it's fresh and it's back on the case, and as I say, the anti-lag's hooked up, so yeah, I've got no excuses this weekend. Regan's been so fast all year, we've hardly matched him anywhere, and we're ahead, so it's great. Sort of a third of the rally to go, so we'll see what happens at the end.
Well, we've had an eventful morning. The first 2 stages we had no intercom, so that made it a bit hard on roads you've never been on before. Then also through the second stage we crushed a plate up against the drive shaft, and that was making a hell of a racket. But yeah, we're going along. The roads are bloody slippery out there. We've had to do a rebuild on the engine and gearbox since Daybreaker, so there's been very little money for a so we're on about third-hand rubber. The first time rallying in the South Island, so it's all good.
It's been quite interesting. Had a really good first stage time, and then sort of dropped off the pace where we had a spin and a stall on a hairpin. Lost a wee bit of time, and we're clawing along, but we're just going to pick up the pace this afternoon and really put on a charge.
First stage was alright, bit slow off the mark, but then the second stage we lost the alternator and wasn't charging, so we lost about 12-13 minutes probably. Fix it on the side of the road and get back to here. It looked pretty good this morning. Second time through those stages are pretty slippery. Near the end we overshot a couple of junctions, had to do a couple of U's, half spins and stuff, but apart from that, hey, it's just fast.
Oh, we're going well. I think for the class place we're up there, but as far as really extreme go, I think we're sitting about third place, so yeah, it's going well. The road's pretty hard, but with the rain now, it should be, make the afternoon quite interesting,
Kieran Hall's mum had told us to bring sunscreen. Luckily we didn't listen and packed wet weather gear instead. The continuous rain affected the now cut up roads as well, but it didn't slow down the Rosses. Unfortunately, a broken half shaft on stage 8 did. Not for the first time, Regan and Nigel were out whilst leading a major rally. It had happened in Canterbury last year as well, a loose sump guard whilst crossing a ford, costing a win there. And here it was a hard start on special stage 8. The second half of the 0800 Boxman rally was better for Craig Stevens and Chris Alexander. Whether it was the tyre choice or the weather or both, he exchanged stage times with Grant Liston, beating him in 4 of the last 5 to claim third in class. The damage done in the morning too big to recover further. One of the highlights of the first final in the Extreme Series was the battle for two-wheel drive honours. Just like his other North Island nemesis Craig Stevens, from stage 5 on, Grant Liston had turned the tables on David Wright. It had truly been a rally of two halves, with Liston claiming the afternoon stages from his rival. After all his good afternoon work, he lost the win by just 10 seconds. Claiming his first win in Rally Extreme this year, despite receiving a 1 minute 50-second penalty, was David Wright and Dana Brooks in their Nissan Pulsar. He set his win up in the morning stages, beating rival Liston by 9 seconds in 1. And it was nearly 2 minutes in stage 2. Liston closed the gap but couldn't quite get close enough. And in the end, 10 seconds separated them. Wright now heads to the Far North Rally with a distinct advantage. It's an advantage he will need. With no Dean Buist this year, Liston will be very hard to beat on roads he loves and knows well. David G and Ben Kameen brought their CH Motors Endeavour Home Subaru home in 6th place. His was a consistent performance, never out of the top 10 all rally, equalling his best stage performance of 5th quickest in stage 1, the 33.9 kilometre Shirtcliffs, the longest, and stage 9, Spooners at 8.3 kilometres, the shortest. After problems in stage 1 and 2, Masterton's Kathleen and Peter Clendon had their Mitsubishi VR4 humming. A 4th and 3, followed by 6th and 4, and another in 5, set their afternoon up. 3/3 in stages 6, 7 and 9, bookended by 2 more 5ths, and all done on old rubber meant 5th overall for the Hawke's Bay Rally winners. All the struggles at the Daybreaker now seemed worth it. Anton Meyer and Dave Davenport were using their new car to great effect. The Spy Optics North Face Subaru had certainly benefited from some high-profile retirements, but they were more than holding their own. Top 5 or thereabouts in all of the stages. Their best performances came in stages 5 and 7, with third best time behind the Rosses and Judd and Stevenson. last thing Les Summerfield needed was a slow start here at Nelson, but by losing over a minute to the leaders through Shirtcliffs, that's exactly what he got. Down to 8th, and what followed was an amazing clawback. Not able to match the stunning pace of the front two, he was the next best. His scorecard read like this: 8, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1 and 2. Second, a great start to the series for the man from Rangiora.
50 to 5 right plus. Steady.
Slippery on that top, mate.
100 to 4 left plus. 80 to 7 left. 30 to pass the junction, closing narrows to a long 4 left. 50 to 6 right. 20 to 7 left minus. To kinks 150 to a 6 right minus to a long small crest to 100 to 4 right plus.
With the improvements to their Hancock Subaru, the Christchurch pairing of Jeff Judd and Marty Stevenson took the battle to the top South Island qualifiers, the Rosses. They swapped stage wins all day, but when Judd had problems in 7, Schultz Road, it looked like the war was over. It was in the very next stages when the Ross Mitsubishi broke a half shaft, handing the win and 32 valuable points to Jeff Judd. So in the 0800 Boxman Rally, the first of the finals, Jeff Judd claims the major points on 32. Second is Les Summerfield, and in third place it's Anton Meyer. Fourth was Cameron Cox from Peter Clendon and David G. Two-wheel drive, it's the domain of David Wright from Grant Liston, Craig Stevens, Marcus Van Klink and Cameron Moore.
We love making this show. It brings back a lot of fun times with great people. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Wyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.